Hello and welcome to News 18 Global with me, Ayushman Singh Jamwal. Our top story, ladies and gentlemen, after days of diplomatic pressure and discussions, the Rafah border has finally made way for humanitarian aid as well as trucks to enter the Gaza Strip. Now, these trucks contain medical supplies as well as food. However, the Gaza Strip, that is home to 2.3 million people, still needs fuel, which runs the key hospitals in the Strip and keeps premature babies in neonatal units alive. There's a dire situation taking place in the Gaza Strip as we speak. Doctors on the ground and around the world have already warned that a major medical catastrophe looms over the Gaza Strip. As it deals with dwindling resources, aid packages feel like a drop in the ocean given the situation in the Gaza Strip and the unending strikes by the IDF. Israel, meanwhile, has intensified its bombing across the Strip with 400 deaths in just the last 24 hours. So that's the situation currently taking place on the ground as the war continues to rage between Israel and Hamas.
Those supplies should go directly to the UNRWA warehouses. That was coordinated through the Egyptian Red Crescent Society with the Palestinian Red Crescent Society.
We demand the opening of the crossing and the safe entry of all aid trucks. We are informed that the trucks have all the supplies needed, including food and relief items, including milk for children and medical supplies. We demand the international community take responsibility for the passage of aid, including the International Red Cross, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, and all other organizations. Over 2.4 million people in Gaza are in need of this aid.
Nominal. And it's not likely to...
Hundreds of Gazans waited for hours on Sunday in Khan Yunis to buy bread as aid slowly trickled in across the Rafah border on the Egyptian side. A second convoy of around 19 aid trucks was allowed to enter, according to Egyptian security and humanitarian sources. Gazans say they're running out of food, water and essential medical supplies in the enclave, where Israel imposed total siege after a cross-border rampage by Hamas militants saw 1,400 people killed. Gaza's health ministry said Israel's retaliation had killed at least 4,300 Palestinians. Gazan resident Shady Al-Akkad called for a solution to the supplies crisis.
If this situation continues, the entire population won't find food or drink. We won't find bread or flour, anything at all. The situation is getting worse. We need to find a solution. It's not fair. Some people's conditions are so bad. Some people are displaced and they cannot eat or drink.
The first humanitarian aid convoy allowed into Gaza since war erupted arrived on Saturday. It was after days of torturous negotiations. The UN said the 20-truck convoy brought life-saving medical supplies and some food. However, the UN said the amount of aid that had entered so far was just 4% of the daily average prior to this siege, and was a fraction of what was needed, with food, water, medicines and fuel stocks running out. UN officials say at least 100 trucks a day would be required in Gaza to cover urgent needs.
Concerns over the risk of a wider Middle East conflict increased on Sunday as the US dispatched more military assets to the region. That's also as Israel continued to pummel targets in Gaza, as well as Hamas supporters in Lebanon and Syria. Israel has amassed tanks and troops near Gaza's fenced border for a planned ground invasion and, according to an Israeli army spokesperson, intensified their bombardment overnight. Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said the deputy chief of Hamas's rocket force had been killed and that killing, quote, terrorists and seniors was their priority. In neighbouring Syria, where Hamas's main backer Iran has a presence, Israeli missiles hit Damascus and Aleppo international airports, according to Syrian state media. Israel also said it had bombed Iran-backed Hezbollah targets on Saturday. Hezbollah said 6 of its fighters were killed. Meanwhile, the US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has said Washington will send more military assets to the Middle East. It's a move in support of Israel and to strengthen the US defense posture in the region, following, quote, recent escalations by Iran and its proxy forces.
And joining me on the broadcast is Kobi Shashani, Israeli diplomat and Consul General to Midwest India. Thank you, Mr. Shashani, for joining us on CNN News 18. My condolences for the October 7 terror attack. The big question on everyone's mind, Mr. Shashani, is when will the ground operations be initiated to achieve the goal of eradicating Hamas?
First of all, thank you very much, Mr. Jamwal, for your kind words. It's a really sad day in Israel. And the answer is yes, the ground forces are already ready with the spirit, with the materials, with everything necessary, with the tanks and with the weapons to go inside already for a few days. And they are waiting for the order from our government and from the Chief of Staff of the Army to go inside with the ground maneuvering, ground operation. This is something that we are ready for that, and we are waiting for the order to come.
Mr. Shashani, the hostage crisis that Israel is facing has shocked the entire world. What more can you tell us about the situation on the ground?
First of all, it's a very, very severe issue. We have to consider it in a very sensitive way. We have families in Israel, and as you know, in Israel, as a small country, every family knows someone that kidnapped or killed or murdered by these brutal terrorists. This is something that I have to mention, but we have to remember that we have more than 1,400 Israeli, including women, kids, elderly people, that killed in a brutal way, and it's a very sad day in Israel, definitely. But the hostages, it's a very sensitive issue. Right now, 2 hostages with American citizenship has been released, and I'm very happy with that. But we are hoping that most of these hostages, especially women, kids, elderly people, some of them Holocaust survivors, will be released as soon as possible, because this is, it's even, I don't want even to say humanitarian, this is something essential.
And Mr. Shashani, I want to get to the very contentious aspect of the battle of narratives. How do you see the pro-Palestine and even the pro-Hamas protests across the globe, where many say that you have no right to that region, also saying that given the military disparity between Palestine and Israel, your actions are disproportionate in nature? Many even say that you are the occupier, the aggressor in the entire region.
First of all, thank you very much for the question. I think some of the big media have lack of moral clarity. This is the only word that I can use when they are using Israel and also when they describing the state of Israel. The atrocity that we've seen in the first days of this brutal attack was something that I'm expecting that all over the world, and including, and I'm getting messages from even people from Muslim countries, they are ashamed that such people made such atrocities. That's the first thing. The second thing, and I have to say that in a very clear voice, after the first days, when I saw some civilians that they were happy, celebrating, the kids and boys that their heads beheaded, women that raped, elderly people that pushed by their hair towards the Gaza Strip. They were so happy in Gaza Strip. Then to say that we are the aggressors, this is something that I don't understand, but we are ready for that. It's going to be more and more lies from the Palestinians. That's part of their propaganda, and sorry to describe it as propaganda, because this is a propaganda, and a lot of lies coming down. Terrorists that kill innocent babies in front of their parents, they don't have even the right to speak.
Right, so they don't even have a right to speak given the ghastly crimes that took place on the 7th of October. Mr. Shashani, now let's talk about the impact on the wider region. With the visit of the Russian foreign minister to Iran and the movement of Chinese warships, is the situation becoming more unstable as the offensive continues in Gaza?
definitely when our forces right now heading towards Gaza and well prepared to do the mission that the government defined to them to do so, we are also looking to the north and to other states what's going on. Of course, we are not willing and we are not want to expand this war, but the security of the state of Israel, the security of the people of Israel, and the citizen of Israel is in our first mission, the mission of our government, the mission of our army, the mission of our civilians. This is the main task. Right now, after what's happened in October 7th, we are not feeling secure. Then in this point, we should first of all elaborate and clear the danger coming from the Gaza Strip. We are not looking for war with Lebanon, but if we will need to do so, of course, we are ready and prepared for that.
Right, but the skirmishes have already started at the Israel-Lebanese border as well. Let's talk about the role of Iran over here, Mr. Shashani. With Ayatollah Khamenei's call for a global jihad against Israel, is the role of Iran in fueling the October 7 attacks, namely aiding Hamas, logistically, militarily, even giving political support to Hamas, is that role now becoming more and more clear?
Definitely, Iran today is leading the world in terrorism, supporting them by money and ammunition. This is something that you don't have to be an expert to understand the role of Iran in the region. Definitely, when you look to the north part of Israel with Hezbollah, which is a proxy of Iran, they make it very clear, and they are getting instructions from Tehran. It's bother. We have to deal with that, and definitely Iran playing a very negative role in this session for many years, by the way, especially in the north part of Israel and in Gaza. And you mentioned several things, financial and of course military help and assistance. Definitely it's very clear.
Right, and my final question that's on everyone's mind, Mr. Shashani, is this an opportunity for Israel to end this war once and for all and achieve that peace that has eluded Israel for so many years?
It's a very complicated question right now, because in Israel right now, especially in the southern part of Israel and all over Israel, what's happened in October 7th make us think twice about cooperation. I tell you something which maybe your audience don't know. Israel thought for many years that if we will give a possibility and prosperity to the Gaza Strip, including work at the Gaza Strip, this is something that will reduce the tension and will make them, a little bit less aggressive, let's call it like that. And these people that work in Gaza Strip, in our fields, in our agriculture, and actually we pay for them a salary in order that they will live a little bit with more prosperity. These are the first people who gave information. They were part of this brutal attack on Israel. This is something that we have to, first of all, understand the situation. And what's happening in October 7, it's not only earthquake in Israel, it's something that we have to build ourselves from the beginning and to believe, because the misconception was a big failure, I have to say.
Right. So no room for negotiations. Eradicating Hamas is the top priority. Kobi, Shashani, thank you for joining us on CNN News 18 and sharing your perspective on the raging war between Israel and Hamas. But that's all we have to pack in on the show. Thank you for watching.